stopped for a break on the way to Desert Hot Springs at the Desert Centre. I think it's a bit shut. From the cold and the forecast snow of Sedona, we're headed south for the warmer climes of the little historic town of Wickenburg. We'd have been on the road for a couple of hours now without any breakfast, so seeing a sign for some services, we pulled off the main highway to see what they had to offer. One Egg McMuffin and coffee later on, we got back onto the road feeling slightly more refreshed and headed on towards Wickenburg. We didn't even know Wickenburg existed until I checked out a possible route back to Long Beach, but it turned out it's an historic town because it's one of the oldest towns in Arizona. Named after a German prospector, Henry Wickenburg, it was a boom town in the 1800s with silver, copper and gold mines. After a 3-hour ride from Sedona, it feels like it's too aching back. We've finally arrived in this little town of Wickenburg, famous for its fresh air apparently. So we're just gonna wait for an hour to check into our hotel, Best Western, across the road there, and we're wandering around trying to find a cup of coffee, but apparently there's a gun show on, so let's check it out. Go and find the gun show. You found it yet, huh?
This will warm you up. Have an extra strong mint.
Maybe not, things. Time to catch the gun show. With time on our hands, we thought we might as well pop along to the only thing happening in town that day, which was the gun show. Neither of us ever held a gun or seen one up close. We thought we'd wander across and see what it was all about. The weather's turned really nice down in Wickenburg. Took my heavy jacket off. Our first room was a bit dull, dingy and smelled a bit, so we upgraded to something a little bit bigger. more like an apartment really. Plenty of space to dump all our panniers. And it's got its own kitchen, not that we're going to be cooking. Charging our helmets up. A reasonable bathroom. Not a proper bath, to have a soak in it. It's what you need after a long day on the bike. And a king size bed. TV.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, we've got lots of space here, so that's good. The other one was dark and small and a bit dingy.
After settling into a hotel, we decided we'd take a wander around Wickenburg. It has one of the most preserved historic districts of any town in the area, but there wasn't an awful lot going on. Hardly surprising with a town of about 8,000 inhabitants. But it did give us a chance to do what we normally do when we arrive at a new destination, and that is of course check out where we're going to have dinner that night.
The metropolis that is Wickenburg.
In this instance, the choice was very easy because everything was shut apart from one little bar, which actually served an amazing homemade chili and some fantastic IPAs. So, result. Morning folks, it's 10:30 in the morning. Just checking out of our hotel in Wickenburg, heading to Blythe in California today. So just a short hop, a couple of hours, and hopefully the weather is going to stay as it is at the moment. As you can see, it's markedly better than yesterday. It felt relatively warm, probably about 8 degrees. So we're just going to wend our way slowly across, plenty of stops, because it's been pretty hard on my back and neck the past couple of days. Anyway, so this is goodbye to Wickenburg. Blythe was our next destination, and to be honest, just like Wickenburg, I'd never even heard of Blythe before. I didn't know it existed, and again it was just another stopover on our route looping back to Long Beach. We had no plans to do anything in Blythe. It was literally just a one-night stopover, but apparently it's one of the busiest entrance points to California, and about 8.5 million interstate travellers pass through there every year, and we were just going to be the next two of them. So we've done about an hour on the US 60 from Wickenburg heading to Blythe, and it's President's Day, so we're trying to find a place to stop, and a lot of places are closed, but we just happened upon this cafe on the road, the Stanford Inn Cafe Bar, and I noticed a sign saying bikers welcome, so perfect place. 2 eggs over easy and bacon with coffee. Well, you have to, haven't you?
BLT. And a large hot coffee.
2 eggs over easy and bacon.
Thank you.
We have finally arrived in Blythe, but unfortunately, following the sat-nav's instructions, it took us about 2 miles away from the hotel where we should have been. So after reorientating ourselves and giving the sat-nav a good talking to, we eventually found our way back on track and noticed the hotel in the distance. So here we are in Blythe, having been given a bum steer by the sat-nav. It took us 2 miles away into some scuzzy place. We're here at the Hampton Inn and Suites by Hilton. So, and it's warmed up a treat now. So let's go find out where our rooms are and where we can park the bike. The first impressions look pretty good, but we're hoping that the hotel had its own restaurant, as we were seemed a bit out of the way and it would seem quite a walk to get into town to find anywhere local to eat. Welcome to the Hampton Inn and Suites by Hilton. It's quite nice, spacious, very tidy looking place. Let's check out our room. It's pretty good actually. Nice bathroom, big shower. We're going to leave this trolley here because it's only one stay overnight. I'm going to carry all the panniers, king size bed. Sorry about the mess, but this is what happens when you travel on a bike. I'm doing all the panniers, big screen TV, and lovely view. Great view of desert plains and the mountain range in the background. Right next to I-10, which we just got off there. And Sue's just checked out how we're doing with washing situation.
Laundry's on.
Laundry's on.
Laundry's on.
Because I was down to my last pair of underpants.
The hotel, as nice as it was, turned out to be virtually empty, and apart from us, it was only a handful of local construction workers, and it didn't have a restaurant or any kind of cafe or bar. But when we inquired, they insisted that they would be serving free hot dogs and 2 free drinks from 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock. So, free beer, hot dogs and wine it was. After our wild night in Blythe, the next day we were setting off for Desert Hot Springs. Again, a place I'd never come across. I knew it was near to Palm Springs, which I'd heard of, but Desert Hot Springs sounded like an interesting place, so that's why I chose it. So we got up the following morning and headed off for some hot springs. For a break on the way to Desert Hot Springs at the Desert Centre. I think it's a bit shut. Desert Centre Cafe. Yeah, it's been a while since that's been used.
It's a business opportunity.
Desert Centre Market. It's deserted now, yes. Here we are at the George Patton Memorial Museum at a place called Chiriaku Summit, where apparently they had a World War II desert training centre. Desert Hot Springs became a tourist destination in the 1950s because of its small spa hotels and boutique hotels. Apparently very popular with the snowbirds heading south for some winter sun. It was also the first city in Southern California to legalize medical marijuana cultivation, since which time it's been apparently overwhelmed by marijuana developers and growers. So we've just arrived in Desert Hot Springs at our resort, which is called the Miracle Springs Resort and Spa. And this is about the warmest it's been on the whole trip. It's so warm, and believe it or not, I'm actually wearing shorts. As you can see there, maybe a bit ambitious wearing shorts. It isn't mad hot. And, yeah, Miracle Springs Resort. Let's take a look at it, shall we? To be honest, it's a little bit like, I don't know, pumpkins with palm trees, if I'm honest. Got a nice stretched limo there for some reason. But it's just good to see the sun out. So let's just take a look inside. It looks quite nice. Spa and boutique. So here we are, Miracle Springs Resort and Spa. Happy days. Let's see what it looks like in here. It's quite a big room. Functional bathroom, well, shower. Yeah, clean. Nice big king-size bed. And we've got a room overlooking. To be honest, although it looks pretty nice with the hot pools, etc., and it was quite warm, the whole resort looked a little bit tired and weary, and I think in need of a good refurb. The pool area. I've even got my shorts on, although it's still, to be honest, a bit nippy. How hot is it, then?
It's had chilly outside.
Go on.
Oh, the water's like bath water. Beautiful.
Oh, so it's warm in the water.
Yeah. Cool bath water.
Okay, well, I'll pass on. Still, it was only a one-night stopover, and in fairness, we had a lovely steak dinner that night and some fantastic IPA beer. The next day, we loaded our bikes up and set off for our penultimate stop, which was going to be the coastal town of Carlsbad in California.